Hey there, Russell traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you a live trade here on June 26th. I have gone ahead and taken an entry underneath the 25-minute open range. Market internals started decreasing. We were all in the green even though we're still mixed, but Russell internals coming underneath the pivot line on the AD. AD has been coming down. We're still in the green overall on the NASDAQ and the NYSE. This gives me an entry move underneath the 25-minute open range on EMA crossover underneath the low of 962.8. Looking at my 1 hour open range, 959.5. Looking for some more momentum to drive this thing down if price comes under there. We have an EMA crossover that is not completely formed. The 5 under the 13, the 21, but not under the 13 and 21, not under the 80. If we all go south on all four, this will keep me in the trade. We are holding up at two price levels here. 959.8 is Camarilla H3, and price level 5 here, 960.9, is the daily R1. We have a target down below of 957.2. The goal of this live trading session is to teach you how to stay in the trade. What is the patience factor that keeps you in a trade by simply moving your stop down and keeping you in the trade as long as possible. So we are not going to take any more contracts on the way down. I simply entered on 2 contracts, and we'll see how far we go with market momentum. Looking at the other indices are also struggling at their bottom of their open ranges, so momentum is not completely driving down. GDP data came out today, slightly lower. Corporate profits were up. We had some news on quantitative easing that was going to taper. Obviously, that will be a question in play, but all we're doing now is we are trading the charts in front of us. We are looking for the momentum to continue to the downside, even on mixed internals, so not completely not a complete momentum drive yet, but our stop is in place. Our stop is in place. It's a no-loss trade on 2 contracts, and we'll see where we go. Be back on as price drives lower. All right, so market price has come back up. As you can see, I didn't take a loss there. I never moved my stop. Only $90 on 2 contracts, but again, it's a break even, so I didn't lose anything. Momentum is obviously not here. Looking at market internals coming up here on the tick, still having a strong NYSE NASDAQ up. Market AD line under the pivot, driving towards 0. Doesn't mean I won't take a re-entry. At this point, I will be looking for an entry underneath the 1 hour open range of 959.5. So until that happens, I'm going to sit and wait and be patient, as we can see price action might turn around here. We'll come back on when I have gotten back in the trade. All right, so here we go. Price action coming back down. Perhaps if I kept my stop a little bit higher, I would have still been in this trade. But again, I moved my stop to break even to save myself on that trade, not take a loss in case price action did turn around. And we are here at the bottom of the 1 hour open range. Very tempting to enter here, but waiting for Heiken Ashi bars. Solid bar with tail down. I'd like to see another bar come underneath this 1 hour open range of 959.6. My 4 EMA, my 13 and 21 starting to come under. Price action testing here. Looking at my other indices, also testing the bottoms. Market internals, tick, never managed to get over, just slightly over 0 there. Our market breadth on the Russell turning down, AD line coming down. And we are looking at the 1 hour open range, its support here. and we'll take an entry under 959.2. Daily gap 957.2 will be the first contract to come off. Okay, I've gotten back in this trade. I've increased my number of contracts to 4 contracts. I'm going to go ahead and take off my first at 957.3. I'm actually going to front run that. Put 2 on there. And as soon as price action hits that target, I'm going to put my stop right at break even at 958.6. And one of the other reasons I did not put a higher stop here too is because I also didn't have all my EMA on my 51321.80 underneath the 1321. We're not under the 80, so I kept a little bit of a closer stop on this move. Price action coming underneath the 1 hour open range, supported by market internal tick coming down to 0. This is a solid selling bar with tails down. Looking at other market indices, testing that 1 hour open range. We'd like to see more conviction on the NASDAQ. And again, the target is the daily gap. Some of you might be more comfortable front running it by 2. But if we at least go to the target and come back up, we'll get our orders filled. All right, we will come back on as price is just about to take out our target. All right, great teaching moment here, Russell traders. I wanted you to notice that I did have a stop up at the top of the 25-minute open range, which perhaps may be too wide for some folks, but I truly believed that, as you can see, my entry is still 958. I'm on my second trade of the day, my first trade being 2 contracts. I'm on my second of 4 contracts. Price action stopping up here at 960.9, which was the daily R1. Price level 959.8, which is the Camarilla H3, and my 1 hour open range. I wanted to give this a lot of room. I'm still under the EMA. Emotion is taken out of my trade. I just gave it a wider stop today. And what also kept me in that is my EMA crossover here. My 5 has never crossed. Price action came up, but my 5 EMA never crossed over the 1321.80, which has kept me in this trade the entire time. I was willing to take a bigger loss today, but based on my AD line coming down, has kept me in this trade. Just giving it a wider stop up here at the top of the 25-minute open range. Price action did take out a lot of people up here. I've also had a 50% retracement. So price action came up here to 961.7, which is a fib retracement line. So I wanted to put my stop at least taking from the high to the low on the crossover, where was going to be at least 61.8, and put it above that, which actually lined up with the bottom of the 25-minute open range. Again, your trading style will depend on how much you can, how much you're willing to risk on any given trade. As you can see, 958.5 actually offered a little bit of resistance to the downside, which is my Surrey range S3 target. And we can see that the 1 hour open range is holding resistance here to continue downside, but I'm still under the EMA. I am taking a little bit of heat here. I believe that price action will come down with a target here at the daily gap, and then move my stop to break even, and whatever happens to my other 2 contracts will happen. We'll come back on as price action draws closer to the target. All right, so 1 hour open range. Fighting a little bit here. My 4 EMA all tucked under, driving this down. EMA crossover. A little bit of unusual day to offer such a wide gap, but I still believe that price action will come down. Market internals has been coming. First AD green, still in the trade. Looking at my other market indices, Price action supporting the drive down here underneath 25-minute open range on the ES and the YM. Russell tucking underneath the 1 hour open range here, and the NQ driving down to the bottom of the open ranges. So we're still coming back down to price entry. First target off at 957.3. You can either just take off all your contracts for the day and just call it a day. I want everybody to see here what keeps me in the trade as long as it does, and how I manage my targets and stops. All right, we're back in the green. I've decided to go ahead and take off 3 at the target. Daily gap being a strong support on some daily moves. Take off the majority of my contracts, profit more, and then just put a runner on at the break even. We got a daily pivot down below at 954.7. which would be the next target down, so 954.7, and I would then just move my stop to my daily gap as price action moves down. Here we're finding support again at the Surrey range S3. Back in the green again, taking a little bit of heat for the day. I'm going to keep my stop up here. I will move my stop down to break even +1. I'm underneath the 1 hour open range. CAM, I'm under the 5 under the 1321.80. 534. Price action was a Fibonacci 50% retracement. We're going to take a fib extension. We're approaching 957.7, could be target number 1, which is right at about target that we are looking to hit, which is the daily gap. 85% probability on fib retracements hitting their targets. So a combination of fib retrace, fib extensions gives me my target to the downside. Here's our target, 957.3. Underneath the 1 hour open range. Emotion removed from my trading. Daily gap, formidable force, 957.2. You can front run that even a little bit more if you wanted to move that up. This line holding 958.5. Now tucking underneath. Price action dropping. Market internals. I have my AD line that's been coming down. Again, we're reaching 0. So that is a nice path to taking off the majority of my targets too. That's why I'm going to take off more contracts than usual. I would only take off half. So here we go. We're going to the target, and 3 targets should come off here, and we are placing 1 stop here. Move my stop up above. Daily gap has been hit. This is a no loss trade. I'm willing to risk $150 to drive down even further to the daily pivot of 954.7. If price action continues to come on down, I'll move my stop to 957.2, or half the distance. All right, 5 under 13 under 21 under 80. Again, some of you might want to lock in more profit and bring your trailing stop down. Heikin Ashi bars solid with tails down. Again, this would be this usually would not be an area that I would trade. 957.2 to 954.7. That's a window there. So that window there is a no trade zone on entry. But since I'm still in the trade, I will continue with it. Daily gap might offer some resistance here or support and bounce back up. And we will come back on if we continue down or my stop is taken out. All right, as we can see, price action really holding up here at the daily gap. Again, that was my target. Could stay in this trade a little bit as long as I can. I still am under 534 EMA, 5 under 13.21 and 80. The daily gap could be a bottom for the day. That's why I would move my stop to break even. +1 here. Underneath the 1 hour open range. Price action may continue down. Taking a look at my AD. My AD has now come in the red. Sign that we might even go lower. Taking a look at the other indices supporting the drive underneath the open ranges. The NQ coming up to the 1 hour open range. TF falling under. And again, I want to protect my profits. Willing to take the loss at the beginning of the trade with an end target of daily gap. Now, if you could put the stop a lot higher and let this maybe bounce back up a little bit and then turn around if you have a lower target. As long as you're underneath the EMAs, price action will continue down. Will come on as we either take our target out or price action drives lower. All right, so I have a blue Heiken Ashi bar forming to the top here. With solid body tail up, price closing in on break-even target. I can elect to just come off here as an option or just let my target come off, and that will be the end of our trade. Again, daily gap. I'm glad I changed my targets to 3 and we are out. So price coming back up, taking my stop out, doesn't mean price isn't going to turn back down. Now, if re-entry occurs, I would not re-enter because this is the daily gap pivot. It's an area that I tend to avoid. So as far as I'm concerned, my trade is over. Any re-entry would be underneath the daily pivot of 954.7. I would get in short again. Again, I'm going to leave this zone hands off, even though I'm under the EMA. Underneath the 3 EMA is in a nice drive down. As you can see, if we put this all together, had even a nicer drive down, 50% retracement. Not a bad trade, 520 bucks on 6 contracts. So that wraps up this live trade for June 26th. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market and see what's going through my head on any given trading day. Always please make sure you have a solid trading plan and never move your stop when placing a trade. Feel free to stop by at my website, tradingfibs.com, or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. I only trade what's in front of me on the charts. My trading mantra of know one thing, know it well, rings true for all markets, whether you trade the ES, the YM, Apple, the NAS. My plan keeps you disciplined. You can always find me every day on Twitter at Trading Fibs. And as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. Have yourself a good day.